Welcome back. So it's a full moon and it's September, and that means it's the Autumn Moon Festival. And what we like during the Autumn Moon Festival is mooncakes. So let's do this. This is going to be a whirlwind tour and also some simple ingredients. So I've made a few here already. And don't worry, I'm going to show you how we got to this point. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in so that by the end of our demonstration, these guys will be done. But they are very pretty. So just in terms of baking, I've got this on 350. It's all preheated. And we're just going to put these guys in. And we're going to put them in for 5 minutes. Because after 5 minutes elapses, we've got to do something to them. So just so I don't get lost, I'm going to start our timer, and it'll remind me in 5 minutes. So let's start with kind of a fun thing here. In the center of mooncakes, there's a little round orb representing the moon, and usually it's a salted duck egg, and they're not easy to find. So I'm going to do a replacement, and what I've got is a sweet potato that I have microwaved, so it's nice and soft. You could, if you wanted to spend more time, you could bake the potato as well. So this is about the same color as a salted egg yolk, which, by the way, the salted egg yolks are an orange color. And what I'm going to do is simply to peel the skin right off of this potato. And we're going to put this into our handy dandy food processor. There we go. And let's just puree that up. Let's see if I can do this correctly. I've only owned this machine for 20 years. And we'll put that puree there we go. And to that puree, we're going to add a couple other ingredients. So the duck egg is salted. So we're going to add some salt, a fair amount of salt. So you want this to be really salty. I think I've got maybe a half a teaspoon of salt in there. And we're also going to add some gelatin because the duck egg yolk is a little bit firmer than the filling. And so I'm going to use some Knox unflavored gelatin, just a package there, and we'll put that in. And we'll process that a little bit more. There we go. Get that moving around in there. Great, great. And let's pull this out. Now, we're going to want to be able to form this into a yolk. And so this is a little bit soft. It's going to be a little hard to do that. So what we'll do, after kind of testing the consistency, I think if you bake it, bake the potato, it might be drier. But what we'll do to get that consistency up is we're going to add a little bit of cake flour at a time. And I'm going to just start with a tablespoon. And what I want this to do is I want this to form a ball, because essentially that's what we'll be doing. So let's put that in. All right, and so that's more of a slurry. So that tells us we're going to add a couple tablespoons here. All right. So let's. All right, it's still trying to form a ball. So let's go with a couple more. Now we want to be careful not to add too much, because if it forms, it's telling us that it's time for us to do something with our, oh, and there's the ball, you can see it. So, there we go. And, so, all right. Not bad. So we'll come back to that. Let me just wash my hands over here, and we will head on over to the oven. And what we want to do now is we want to put a glaze on the eggs. I mean on the I'm going to put an egg glaze on the
cakes.
Mooncakes. Thank you. So this was at 350. So now these aren't done, and that's okay. What we wanted to do is we wanted to dry these out a little bit so that we would then be able to put an egg glaze on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break an egg here. And I've got a couple tablespoons of water in this little container. And I'm just going to mix this up. You could use a whisk, or you could just shake that egg up, just like that. So the reason you want to bake these is that if I had tried to put the glaze on while the dough was soft, we would have just basically wiped out that cute little pattern. And there's an easy way to get that pattern on there. So let's paint the tops and a little bit of the sides. The top is the most important to paint. So this is going to get kind of a shiny yellow. There we go. Paint these guys. And we'll get those sides. Again. There we go. So you can see how easily the even the egg wash can obscure that pattern. So we want to be careful there. All right. And the shape actually is kind of a sign of what's inside our mooncakes. Whoop. No stick cookie sheet. They slide around. All right, so we've got these. Got a nice egg glaze. Let me make sure I lighten that a little bit. All right, so we're going to put these back in. And we want to put these in for about 10 minutes. slide these in. So we want these to turn a golden brown. There we go. And I'm going to set this, it's at 5 minutes, so I'm just going to do that, so in 5 minutes we'll check that. There we go. All right. So we have our egg yolk here. And so let's take that out because now I want to make the filling for the mooncakes. So let's pull this out. There we go. Wish I had a red spatula. Here it is. There we go. All right. So these are egg yolk. And because the gelatin's in there, as this cools off, this is going to get more solid. But not hard. All right. So the traditional filling for the mooncakes is lotus seed paste, which is really hard to find. So another filling that you can use, another filling that you can use is a sweet bean sauce, or not sauce, a paste, a sweet bean paste. And so what we'll do is we will take some canned beans, and if you want to go with the basics, you could boil up some red beans and then puree them up and put some sugar in them. But we're going to use canned beans. So let's do that. All right, and here we are. Just some red kidney beans. You want to drain these, and we'll put some. I'm not going to put all of these in right now. There we go. And we'll put in a tablespoon of sugar. So beans they're a little sweet anyway. We don't want these to be super sweet. So what we'll do is we will just puree those up. And once again, we're going to want these to form a ball. So we'll put in a little bit of flour. And another tablespoon. There's the ball. All right, it's a little wet still, so we'll put in maybe just half a tablespoon. Don't want to go too far. There we go. Nice. All right. So here's a ball of sweet bean paste. And you could use sugar, you could use brown sugar, you could use honey or maple syrup, but you want to be careful with that simply because it'll be very wet. So we have one more aspect to make here. I'm going to rinse this one more time. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the dough for the outside of the mooncake. And a lot of the traditional recipes use something called golden syrup. And Again, that's a little bit hard to find, but you can use, in place of the golden syrup, you can use honey, or here in Maine, you could use maple syrup. So since we make our own maple syrup, we'll go with that. So let's look in on our, there we go. These will be pretty close to done. Oh, look at those. They are close. They are close. All right, so what we can do is we can put another layer, just like that. And we'll just put these in one more time. That's at 350. All right. Five more minutes. All right. So, you're gonna have to do a lot of pausing in this video because we're jumping back and forth. Timer. All right, 5 minutes. Boom. All right, so this is a very simple dough. It's actually not a dough. It's almost like a pie crust actually. So let's put in. I'm going to put in about a quarter cup of flour here. Maybe a little more. Maybe a half a cup. All right. And once again, we're going to be looking for a ball. And instead of sugar, what we're going to do is we're going to add some maple syrup. But before I do that, I'm going to add our favorite ingredient, which is butter. I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of butter. There we go. All right. No. All right, so let's process that up. All right, so that's mixed right in. And let's put in about a tablespoon of our maple syrup. Let's see if this will the ball. Oh, I put in a little bit too much. It made a slurry. That's okay. So we want this to be a pretty soft pastry. There we go. Just trying to form that ball. Let's take a look at it. Let me just kind of scrape some of this moisture off the sides. There's the ball, which is what we wanted. There it is right there. All right, so we have our ingredients for making our mooncakes. So what I've done, I'm going to save myself some time here, is I've made up in advance some of our little moons. So when this cools down, this will solidify, and you'll just form little balls with it like this. All right, and I think we'll make one of each, just so I can kind of show you what we've done. And our filling. What did I do with our filling? Up here is over here. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of the moons, and we're going to take a pinch of the filling, which is just a little bit bigger, maybe twice the size of the moon, and we're going to just push it down, and we're going to bring that up all around the moon, just like that. All right, so there's one, and let's do another one. Push that in there, and just bring it all the way up around the edge and close that moon. There we go. All right, so inside each of these, what we'll do is we're going to take some of this pastry dough. Whoops, okay. We're going to get interrupted before we get to the dough, and we're going to take a look. We're going to shut this off because I know it's cooked. And there they are. Look at that. Golden mooncakes. All right, so let's head back to the filling. And the dough wants to be the size of the filling, or even a little bit smaller. You don't want there to be a ton of dough. And what we're going to do is make a very thin surrounding of the dough. And the way I like to do this, so you could roll this out by hand, which is certainly something that works, or you could use your handy dandy tortilla press. In this case, my handy dandy tortilla press with a little plastic bag here, and we'll just, there we go, we'll just press that out like that. And then we'll pull this off, and here we go. We'll take our filling, and we'll just kind of work our way around filling, and then we'll push this up, being careful not to break the rest of the filling. And then we'll just roll that. All right, so you've got the moon in the middle, you've got a nice sweet red bean paste, and this very sweet dough on the outside. So this one's going to have to be a little bit thinner. That's okay. Alright. So we'll add that. I'm just releasing that from the plastic. We'll take this, and we'll peel that right off. And we'll go right around. Kind of pushing down with my thumb, making sure that that wrapper gets around the filling. There we go. All right, so the fancy design. So that's kind of a fun thing. So just to keep things from sticking, I'm going to grab some flour here. Oh, by the way, I'm using cake flour. It makes for a more tender dough. You can use all-purpose though if you want. So I've got these presses. They're kind of cool. They have a fancy pattern on the outside there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just flour that a little bit so it doesn't stick. I'm going to roll my mooncake right there. We'll put that in like that, and we'll just press that. And this is so cool. So we'll just push that right out. And there it is. So that's the round one. And we can also do a square one as well. So we'll roll that. Just keep it from sticking.
Did you say the shapes meant something?
Oh, yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. Thank you. All right. So let's do this. All right. There you go. So I haven't demonstrated it here, but the different shapes can signify different fillings. And what I'll do is we'll take a look at, I'll bring it over here, we'll take a look at one of our square ones. This one, these are a little bit bigger, and one of our round ones. There we go. So what I've done in this is they both have moons in them, but one is the night sky, and it's done with black beans, with sesame seeds, white sesame seeds as the stars, and the other is just the red beans. So let's cut this one in half so we can kind of see. So there's the moon. You can kind of see that there with the red bean. Now let's see. The black bean, see, it's much darker. All right. So you can kind of play with the with the different fillings. So there you have it. Mooncakes for the Autumn Moon Festival. So the thing you want to remember though is you don't want to eat these mooncakes right away. They have to actually age a little bit. The oil and butter that's in the crust here will gradually soften the crust. So let these sit. You know, they can be covered, but let them sit for 2 or 3 days before you eat them, and they'll be nice and soft. So thanks for joining us. I guess I'll try one of these guys, even though they're right out of the oven. You're not supposed to do that. So let's, oh, the moon got away. It's nice. The moon is salty, and the filling is sweet, and the pastry is flaky. So, thanks, and we'll see you next time.